Some major internet blackout. I mean, it takes place yesterday. Here's the thing though. Yeah, it made people upset for a few hours. But this is what I've been trying to tell you. Wait till you hear the companies that were down because they depended on Amazon, and their platform. Well, it dealt with your money. It dealt with your social networking. It dealt with your whole life. So if all of a sudden they want more of your money, more of your life virtually, what if all of a sudden this happens more and more? What if all of a sudden this takes place and you can't access any of your money? We'll discuss that today, how the internet blackout could affect you. And also we'll talk about which ones didn't go down because it's a big deal. Also, we're going to talk about the hunting stand that's close to the president. Again, how serious is it that we have to take care of this man, our president? No matter what side of the aisle is on, there should be no reason that his life is ever at risk. Again, another attempt could have been on the president. Why are we allowing this to happen? Sometimes I wonder why we don't just have private security hired by him, because what it seems like is there's always like this guy setting up something to take place, and all of a sudden we allow it to get this close, where Trump can't even be in the certain area because there's something that could be very dangerous for him. We'll talk about the hunting stand in the tree right next to his plane. Come on, people. This is crazy talk. Also, we're going to discuss new numbers that came out. Bombshell report of showing how safe this was. We keep talking about this, but for some reason, no one is catching on to the fact that your politicians are still pushing you to take this. We're going to talk about the military numbers that they had to take it. We're going to discuss their numbers. Then lastly, we're going to talk again about our debt situation along with the judges. Now, both those things have a lot in common. Why? Because really it comes down to Congress fixing both of these situations. And yet, they choose not to. We'll discuss a lot of these stories today. Let's dive in. This video starts right now. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new, please go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, that's okay. But let us know what you think about the content of today's video. We are so humbled by you coming back and watching us each and every day. It means the world to us. So please share our content with your friends so we can gain wisdom as we try to navigate this crazy world that we live in. Now let's jump into the stories of the day. First, let's talk about this military issue that just came out. This was just released just a few days ago about, how you see politicians are still pushing this. It's flu season, so now all your politicians are taking pictures of themselves on social media, taking pictures of them getting these boosters and all this stuff going in their arm. I want you to listen to what they made our military do and how important it is for us to pay attention to who we trust. I mean, in everyday life, but especially when it comes down to our health. Listen to this. This came out. It says medical officials just revealed that the CV just related to heart issues have skyrocketed under active duty naval officers. I want you to listen to this. This is dealing with what they made naval officers take and parts of the military during 2020. It was mandatory. Listen to the numbers. Myocarditis is up 151% among naval officers. Pulmonary heart disease up 62% among naval officers. Ischemic heart disease up 69%. Listen to this one. This is the scariest one. Heart failure is increased with a whopping 973%. Now, these are the numbers dealing with the military naval officers that we know of. Think of everyone in the world, think of everyone in America that was pushed with this. And you're telling me that heart failures have increased 973% among naval officers who tend to be more healthy, who tend to have some kind of regimen, who tend to be active? Now think about all the people that had gotten that. It goes back to yesterday's video. If you didn't watch it, you need to go back and watch it. How much we've been lied to. Now we hear that. Now let's keep on going with another article that just dropped. This is from Bill Gates. It says, according to Bill Gates, tackling certain demands are needed when it comes to our food and deep innovations with agriculture. The same way that we helped humans when it came to these all across the world. Now, he's bragging on this. Now, this is before the report was out that it's caused all this damage. So he's saying, we demand deep innovations for our agriculture like we did for people and helping. Listen to this. He targeted rice and cattle as major sources of emissions and how we should fix that, proposing the same things that they put in our arms to making genetic engineering and modifications to the solutions of cattle and rice. These two stories have a lot in common. Why? It's man's manipulation of what God has given us in health. What God has given us with what treats our body, food, natural remedies, exercise, being outside. The things that we should have had during the 2020, things that we should have every day in our lives. And now the same people that told you that this helped and healed our bodies, they're telling you, of course, we realize it didn't. Now they're telling you that we need to work on the cattle, the rice. Do you realize cattle is the main source of meat around the world? Not only that, rice is the main staple across the countries, across the world, to feed not only America, third world countries, Asian countries. Without rice, they said most of the world would see starvation like they've never seen. And now Bill Gates is telling you that we need to modify it and genetically engineer, just like we did, and how comfortable everyone was putting this in their arm in 2020. That same technology, that same protocols of keeping Americans safe and keeping the world safe from this contagion, we need to help mitigate the problems with cattle and rice. The same people you're trusting to now cause the sicknesses are the same people we're trusting with our food source. Again, we state that Bill Gates is one of the biggest landowners in America, farm landowners. We have to pay attention. This is where we have a broken system. Now let's go to the two stories dealing with Congress. There's two reports that just came out. And again, this proves the point that our leaders, the people that lead us, that we trust, are not actually leading us in the right way. We'll discuss this, then we're going to jump into the internet blackout, because that's the one that affects you the most. But I want you to listen to these two reports that just came out. You want to see what a judicial coup looks like. Court injunctions, meaning presidents put forth executive orders or policies that they want. And the court systems, they interpret and they're supposed to make sure that the checks and balances are there. I want you to listen to this. The Biden administration had 14 injunctions over 4 years, meaning there are certain policies they put in that there's only 14 times that the judges stepped in and made changes. Clinton, 12 in 8 years. Obama, 12 in 8 years. Even less intervention in Clinton and Obama. George W. Bush, 6 in 8 years. So that means during this time, we didn't see any activism from the judicial part. You saw a lot of leadership, even if you didn't like the leadership, like Obama and Biden for the conservatives, where they overstepped. And again, nothing was said. And only 8 to 12 times did the judicial branch step in. Now let's listen to what Trump has dealt with. Just in 4 years and 10 months, Trump's judicial left activism, meaning what these judges has done to stop his policies and making America great again, has been 170. Again, George Bush, 6, Obama, Biden, and Clinton, anywhere from 12 to 14, and Trump, 170. Now, you know who could fix this problem? We have the Congress. We have the Senate. Republicans could stop this. They could impeach every one of these judges because they're activist judges. They're not actually trying to rule by true constitutional rights. They're just overstepping. Now, that's one instance where Congress has let you down. I mean, we've talked about a lot of other things, but what about this? Another report. U.S. debt crisis is intensifying. Total U.S. debt reach, meaning not only America's debt and liabilities, but the Americans' debt, the debts that we've put ourselves in, is $100 trillion by quarter 2, 2025. That's up 324% of GDP. U.S. debt reaches $98.8 trillion. That is unsustainable, people. That means between the government and its people, Americans, we have $100 trillion in debt. There's no way we will ever repay that. So that means the only way to fix that is a complete destruction of our currency, which I believe that's what they're trying to do with crypto. Federal government debt rose 35.6 trillion in quarter 2. Now, that's 123% of GDP. Non-financial corporate debt hit 21.9 trillion, which is 72% of GDP. Financial corporate debt totaled 20.9 trillion, which is 69% of GDP. Household debt, 67% of GDP. Meaning, overall, the money we're bringing in can't even touch the debts that we have as Americans, as businesses, and as our government. Now, you know whose fault this is? Again, let's just take a wild guess. A lot of this is our government, Congress and leadership. We could cut a lot of programs right now. We're in a shutdown. We could literally cut more and more and more. Not just the president, but the Congress. But we choose not to. All the federal grants and subsidies that we give to, look, as someone who raises their own food, as a farmer, I don't want farmers getting subsidies. As a business owner, I don't want governments bailing out businesses. As someone who is very conscientious of our money, I don't believe government should be bailing out debts of big financial institutions. As someone who went to college, I don't believe government should be backing student loans or mortgages. As a homeowner either. See, here's the problem. We've relied on the government so much that we have been so encapsulated to thinking that we're safe, that that doesn't matter, that money's always okay, and that America's always going to thrive. With these kind of numbers, and with the judicial problems that we're having, and with the fact that Congress and Senate are not doing anything to help us, along with the fact that our leaders, like the billionaires, like Bill Gates, and the people mandating this to be taken, what have we seen? A lot of failure. We must pay attention to these things. This is why I tell you, if you're not independent, and your source of help is always government, I'm sad to say that you're going to be let down tremendously over the next coming days, weeks, and months ahead, because we cannot keep this boat afloat. You know, it's kind of like a boat that is floating, and we keep on getting 5-gallon buckets of water and dumping them in a boat. You know, you're thinking, well, a few gallons of water is not going to hurt the boat. The boat's still got a shell, and it's gonna float. After a while, if you just keep pushing that water into the boat, eventually the boat starts filling up and it starts to capsize. Well, we're at that point because we can't get enough water out of the boat before we go and sink under. Now, these are huge stories. Wait till you hear this one. What has been the answer for a reset? Putting everything virtually online, putting your health into the networks. You know, everything should be digital now. Your health records, your financial records, your biomarkers. Remember, Bill Gates wants to push this in there to where all your information is put on the World Wide Web. I mean, everything about your life is supposed to be digital now. Your work, AI, everything. I mean, Bitcoin, crypto, that is the world that we live in now. We don't need this cash, how gross it is in gold. You can't carry it anywhere. You can't buy loaves of bread with it. This is why this is a monster problem. The biggest story of the day, I want you to listen to this. The internet blackout that takes over AWS's network. Now, they try to pretend that it's a problem with the grid in certain areas, in the Virginia area, but they never really came out and stated why and where the root cause was. Now, by the time this video comes out, it could be. Listen to this. Amazon and AWS identifies root cause of widespread internet outages affecting the U.S. East services. Amazon Web Services has largely restored the problems, but for hours, people did not have their internet. I want you to listen to some of the things that broke down. Now, the messaging services, think about this, and social media. You had Signal, you had Reddit, you had Whatnot, you had all these services dealing with social networking. They said even some of the things like social media programs were down. You had TV services such as Roku, IMDb, FanDuel, Max. All these were down. Fortnite, gaming systems, Prime Video, Prime Music were down. Even McDonald's food services were down. But let's stop right there. That's not the biggest concern. Now, let's go to the biggest concern. The same people that's telling you to put everything that you own, crypto, your health services, everything online. Listen to some of the other businesses that were shut down. Chime, Coinbase, Venmo, AWS, and Whole. That's financial services. That's the same people that tell you bricks and mortar banks are not needed and the cash is not needed, that you should put every ounce of your money and health data online. Now, this became a monster trending topic because it was out for hours. Now, think if you had an internet blackout that was longer than just 2 or 3, 4 hours. You couldn't access any of your money, any of your health data, any of your prescription services, any of your wireless capabilities. What about your work? There's been a push, with jobs and work that more people are needing to get on the cloud, that you don't need internal servers, you don't need any kind of servers at your location, physical servers, you don't need desktops, you don't need drives, you need to put everything on the grid and everything on wireless capabilities like the cloud. The cloud just went down. So how safe is your data? How safe is your computer systems? How safe is your money? Now, X was up. It's crazy. Elon Musk's platform never went down. It's based on satellites. It's based on different capabilities, different web services. Now, what does that mean? Well, what this means is everybody's going to look for ways to build their own servers, kind of like Elon Musk has, but that's impossible. They're going to need companies like Amazon to keep providing web-based services and servers, and that's exactly what the government now is going to step in and do. You watch if you don't see government say, well, because of what we've seen with AWS, we may need to build more government ableness with data centers to collect data to make sure everybody's data is safe and that all financial services don't go down and that web usages don't go down. Well, if all our systems are based on what the government says, and we've seen how much the government has failed the last few days, weeks, and months and years prior to all the things we just talked about in this video, why do we think this is the answer? These are the same people telling you to put all your money on these platforms that just went belly up for a few hours. And it calls for massive waves of people going crazy because they could not get onto their gaming systems and have Amazon Alexa and to be able to use their internet servers. And this was just in one region of America. So that system going out for just a few hours caused a blackout and caused people to have massive hysteria for just a few hours. Now, the same people that we say that we don't trust, China, Iran, Pakistan, North Korea, those are the same people that have the hackers that can absolutely take over any services because our grid is pretty much vulnerable, and we know that. We've been talking about that, which means our internet basis is very vulnerable. This is a dangerous problem to have. Blackouts keep on going. That's why I tell you, without cash, you can't live. They say you can, you don't need cash, but if everybody's money was based on a system and it went down just for a day, think of the pandemonium we would have. All I'm saying is sometimes when we hear all these people telling you to do certain things and we realize they told you to do all this and now we realize the problems we're having. They're telling you to modify every part of your food and we realize the cancers that we're having. They tell you that all this stuff is okay and then you realize they're letting you down. It just makes me think that government doesn't have our best interests at heart, and neither do these rich billionaire companies have our best interests at heart. So I say community, prepping, independence is still key, and cash will always be key. Now here's the thing, with all that debt that's going up, that means it's going to destroy cash. That's what they need. When they destroy cash, they destroy a bartering system. They destroy your independence. They put you on a system. Well, if it fails, we all fail and we're all dependent on the government, correct? Something to think about. I'll go to this last story because this is probably the most important. There's been several times where Trump has been warned for his safety. And again, yesterday's or day before's protest, the No Kings event, there was people holding up versions of Trump, and they were letting kids and young people come in there and stab and annihilate the images of Trump. That is a very, very dangerous place. Why? Because some people are a little bit too crazy and they start doing this. I mean, in the tragedy of Charlie Kirk, along with the attempts on the president's life. I want you to listen to this story because this just proves how dangerous it is to serve the American people, especially when you're trying to go against the norm and trying to make America truly great. FBI probes possible sniper setup near Air Force One. Trump just flew out of Palm Beach. They had to get him out of this airport. And they said where he was actually at and where Air Force One was, it's a danger to him. It says Trump just flew out of this place. FBI says they found a hunting stand near the airport that had a clear view of Air Force One and where it landed. Basically, someone set up a little elevated platform pointed right at the president's plane. Right where he gets off, right where he comes out on the stairs. Now you tell me, how in the world did they allow this to take place? It shows that there was literally a picture. I want you to look at this. This was shared. A tree. The tree stand sitting right there. It showed the clear view of Air Force One right through the woods where it could be seen to where the door opens to the plane of the President of the United States. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think that is safe, do you? The same people that tell you that they're watching over you because of this and telling you your food needs to be changed, telling you to get on the dollar, get off the dollar and get on some kind of digitized currency and all of a sudden let the grids fall, are the ones protecting the president who is trying to make America great again. Has allowed for someone to put a tree stand next to where Trump's plane lands each and every time in Florida. They said the president, now his life is even more vulnerable because now we're having to look at certain situations where the Secret Service and FBI may have failed to actually keep the president safe. How many times are we going to keep letting this happen to a point where it's going to be the last time? It's heartbreaking that we even have to worry about the safety of our president when we're a first world country and people depend on us to be the shining light for America, and not only for America, for the world. We cannot allow this to keep on taking place. There's a story that said that these kind of attempts, how many times are we going to see the attempts, the plans, where we actually see a tragedy? But let's go back to the No Kings event. You had Nancy Pelosi, Bernie Sanders, Chuck Schumer, all speaking, and they've all been in Congress, but been in leadership of America, of this sinking ship that we talked about, for over 35 to 40 years, some even up to 50. And they said Trump's the problem, and they're literally decapitating and stabbing and destroying images of his. Now, I'll be honest with you. I think that's not freedom of speech, that's hate. But what that hatred does is it makes people react. And what does that make people do? Put hunting stands next to Trump's plane with the sniper view of our president. Guys, come on. We can't keep allowing this to take place. The No Kings protests only had, they said, around 650,000 worldwide, or America-wide. They said worldwide because Canada had some, Australia had some. Stupid, so stupid. But it's a propaganda. Now, you know why this is a big deal? Not because of 600,000 people. They said it was 7 million. It was not. It was about 650,000 people. Do you know how deceptive and how, if we're not paying attention, how much we think that that was a big deal? I want you to listen to two stories real quick. They said that mainstream media were using pictures of events from 2017, drone footage from 2017, from other events that had nothing to do with the No Kings protest against Trump. They were trying to make you believe it was a lot bigger than it was. And then also, listen to these numbers. They said the No Kings protest, the money filtered in to make this take place was filtered in of $294 million to get these people to protest Trump in America. It says Arabella gave $79 million, Buffett 16 million, Ford 51 million, Rockefeller Foundation 28 million, Soros 72 million, and Tides Foundation 45 million. It said these funds were sent to partners of the No Kings. Now they were not the ones that said, okay, we're going to write a check to No Kings. No, what they did is they filtered it through to where all those people were probably paid protesters. All those people were not there because they actually believed in something. They just wanted to get paid. 294 million is what that cost. Now, I'll be honest with you. Most time when conservatives and Republicans want to change something, they do it by votes, and they do it for free because they believed in freedom and liberty. I think about our founding fathers. They didn't get paid to go out there and actually promote freedom. Trump has actually gave his checks away, his payroll away. No other president's done that. And you tell me that we have to worry about the risk of his life and the protests are actually paid $294 million? It's unbelievable. Guys, let me know your thoughts on today's video. We are in a very dark time in America, and we act like it's getting better. It's absolutely not. Not because we don't have good leadership, but because there's so much evil forces that are trying to hold us down. Pay attention to this. Who's trying to stop Trump? Well, Congress and Senate, the judicial branch, random people and trees, attempts on his life. All for a man who's really trying to make America great again. It's unbelievable. Let me know your thoughts on today's video. God bless.